Hello and welcome to A Talk With, a new episode of A Talk With. I'm finally back sort of in rhythm, and I'm here with the wonderful, not Jack Alexander as it says on my screen, Kat and Nat. We
Hello,
are
hello. It is Jack Alexander, as you see on your screen, actually.
we are not using Jack Alexander's Zoom right now. We are totally using my Zoom. But it also means that I don't have to wait 40 minutes. Well, I don't have to have a break between each 40 minutes. But that aside, yes, I'm here with Kat and Nat, owners of the channel 77 Years Productions, creators of many, many zines, and master enthusiasts. Would you say that's right?
So that's accurate.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
pretty accurate description.
How are you?
Fab and really just overheating.
Yeah, no,
See it in our faces. It's a
Yeah.
slight pain.
we've picked quite a day for it today.
Mm.
Yeah, no, for context, at the time of recording, how hot is it today? It's about 30 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, fun. So, jumping right into it, the first thing I want to ask you about is the creation of 77 Years Productions and how you got into the fandom and how you got to that point. So, how did 77 Years Productions begin?
Well, it all started in the year 2000 with my parents. Yeah, and they didn't love each other very much. Anyway, 19 years later, 20 years, I forgot how old I am. Yeah, I'm all right. So, the creation of 77 years. I have liked Doctor Who forever and done things about Doctor Who forever. But if you want to look at the real origin stories of the 77 years team as as it once, as it is, and 77 years productions, then you'd have to look at my uni room in my first year of university. Um, and there's me sitting shut into my room because it's COVID. And I'm just bored out of my mind. It's just the only thing I can go on is the internet. Can't go outside, can't go shopping, can't do this, can't do that. And I'm just sat there molding. And I knew what zines were at the time. I was in like quite a few Discord servers, and I partook in some uploading and reading of fan fiction on the internet on archive of our own.com. um, and I saw it was this one event actually that really inspired me, and I don't know if anyone can remember it. It was this corner of the fandom. They did an event to celebrate the Master's 50th anniversary called Masterversary. I took part, and the process was, you applied to be a writer or an artist, and then you got paired up, and you, the writer, would write a story, then the artist would illustrate it. And I thought, this is fab. This is so cool. So, I wrote this multi-chapter fan fiction for this event, and I got paired up with a lovely artist, and I thought, I want to do this again. I want to do some more. So I'm going to apply. I want to see what other zines are out there, what other things are out there. And so I applied for another one. And I just thought, this is so cool, isn't it? And I think one day, like, the idea just sort of formed that, hang on, you could just go and do it yourself. Which, if you haven't, it's quite a crazy concept. Hang on. It's this thing I enjoy. Hang on, I can do it myself. Whoa. So it just hadn't occurred to me at all. And I thought, yeah, hang on, you could do this. You could print it out and you could raise money, say, sell it as a book. And so that was the birth of my first zine called the Hope Zine. You can't get it anymore because it's long lost.
Oh, shucks.
One of my laptops, but I've got copies of it still around, and I love the process so much that I followed an idea that I had around the creation of the Hope Zine, that what if you could do it with, real Doctor Who and the gaps in the stories, and what if you could make more stories? And I was like, that's crazy. What gap in the show can I just put a load of stories in and do this cool thing? there's a really conveniently sized gap, and it's 77 years long. Around the universe is worth planning in 77 years. A story of how the Master, you know,
I love how you phrased it up to this point as if the fact it was the Master was coincidental. Like, when is there a gap? Well,
I slipped and fell, and I fell just so far into the idea of the Master.
What a coincidence.
Oops. And so that zine, wonderful zine I have somewhere, I would be surprised if it's not within arm's reach.
Yeah,
it's right
genuinely.
I'm going to show you visual examples. My beloved, I love this scene to bits. It's gorgeous, and it was the first time, you know, I printed something.
Who did the art for the front cover?
It was someone called someone on Tumblr called Wyk, so WYK Art, and I love their style. And they'd done a lot with 13 and like tapestry like drawings with 13 and the Master. And I thought, yeah, okay, I'm making a book. I gotta get an illustrator. And so, you know, this beautiful zine was born, and it's where the team got its name. And from this scene, of which this is where Nat comes aboard.
Yeah.
So, in the contributors for this scene, we had a writer at some point just say, "I can't do this. I've got to drop out. Sorry. You know, you can find a replacement." And I just thought, who do I know? Who do I know that really likes the Master? I don't know, Nat. I like the Master. And then that was like, oh yeah, I'll do this. That seems quite cool. Yeah, go on then. And so you can find Nat's work in the 80s? The 1980s. A story set in the 1980s. Club, very David Bowie. And so now it's part of the creation of that scene. And from that scene, I'm just telling you a whole chronological history here. From that scene,
by all means,
we had, I think, you know, we create Discord servers to go along with each scene, and people get chatting in there, and a real community kind of tends to form around each project that we do, which is really lovely, because the whole thing is about connecting people up, getting people into a thing that they're having fun with, getting people like a credit in print, you know. And so
all the best projects in the community are collaborative and bring people together, and absolutely the zines are a great example. Continue.
Yeah. And so from there, I think a few of us had this idea of crazy idea. What if the Master and the Doctor went to therapy? For all their
It's about time.
You know, they just someone just put them in a room and made them sort out their issues. And this is where my darling, The History Between Us zine was born, which is one of the most ambitious projects I think I've ever done. And I'm currently making Red Twilight, which is so that's ridiculous to say. But this huge, chunky, big Bible of a book, fully illustrated with a framing story, with a foil cover, with every Doctor, every Master. And I thought, you know, at one point I thought, well, how do I make this even more accessible? Let's make an audiobook. What the hell? Yes. Let's make an audiobook. Let's go. I'll narrate it myself. I'll get a mic and I'll sit there and I'll record it and I'll get people to do the lines and whatever. And that was it. It was just such a hell of a project, and I did just that. I was in a box room at the time that I did the audio book. I had this mic, but I had no room. So what I used to do was sort of sit hunched up, like underneath the wardrobe door in my room, hang this duvet over the doors, and I'd sit there like that and record like hours of narration into this microphone, and sometimes I'd have to retake it.
I mean, somehow that both sums up lockdown and it sums up uni dorms in general.
Yeah, so I'd even moved past my uni dorm. I was living in a box room of my own accord.
Yeah, it was 2022.
It was 2023,
was it?
I think.
Yeah.
And that came out, and I got my friend Taka, who was a terrifically talented composer, did the music for that. And someone you might know, Ross, did the SFX for that.
Mm.
I'm sure I'll talk about Ross later. But
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
you know, when Nat was getting shipped out, Nat sort of became more and more a part of making these zines, because I mean, you were so involved with the community, and so you loved doing it, and you loved any part of it you could get your hands on and help with, and so we ended up at sort of, when we're shipping zines off, I ended up in your house, and not just from sneaking in.
And you never left.
I didn't leave.
Yeah.
We sat on the floor in these piles and piles of zines, and we're packing, and we're watching Iron Fist on the telly or something. I just said, well, why do you want to like hop on and just do this for forever and be on the mod team? And then I popped the question. No, it's we packed these zines, and you know, at the end of it, we were like, well, I actually really like you. Do you you know? So that sort of brings us to, you know, the current project that we've got going on, zine project at least, Hear the Music, which is one that we've always both wanted to make a Twissy zine for a while, because we love 12 and Missy. It's kind of where we both got into our love of the modern show. I mean, we both loved it all of our lives, but there's something special about 12 and Missy to us, I think.
Yeah.
And we're here in 2026 in our own flats. I can see there's boxes of merch and boxes of zines, reprint zines behind us, and we're still working on getting the prints done for the current zine, but it'll be shipping out over summer. And yeah,
what is the shipping process like? Not for the Doctor and the Master, but for the
it's vigorous.
Yeah, you put them in a room, you make them kiss.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's hellish for sure.
It's
very satisfying in like an autistic way to be like, oh yeah, doing this, and like then you have loads of packages all neatly lined up and you take them to the post. It's lovely, but it is genuinely, you lock yourself in the room for just an entire weekend. You print out every single order, and we do get like hundreds of orders, so we have hundreds of sheets of paper, and we have to sort through each of them, pack what's on the sheet, put the shipping sheet inside. And then even when we've packed all of them, we then have to spend hours ordering online postage for all of them. It's a real process.
It was made when you're trying to make every package special, this sounds like a commercial. You're trying to make every package special. But you're genuinely trying to make someone's experience on the other end feel amazing, because someone has put trust in you and bought your project or whatever you've made. So someone's opening it and going, whoa, that's really cool. And so you want to make it like that. And so there's loads of extra little faffy bits that will go into, packing a parcel. You get the thing, you put the thing in the parcel, you wrap the thing, you put stickers on it, you package it, you put little extras in. If, you know, we're going to put a little extra in this time, you have to think of what little extras you're putting in.
Well,
order the label, stuff it on, take it all to the post office in suitcases.
If I'm not mistaken, was one of the little extras a Doctor and Missy bookmark? Was that one of the extras at one point?
Yeah, it's one of the merch items. Hang on, I can show you.
We'll censor our living room sofa.
Which Peter Capaldi has seen. Has he got one?
He has one.
That's right, yeah.
I've lost it.
Look at the top of the trolley. The trolley never fails. We've got a little trolley with 3 tiers on for all the zine stuff that we pack, but it's overflowing at the moment because it's too much of it.
Well, you've recently moved in, haven't you? This is a new sort of place.
Fairly recently, yeah. We live in Cardiff. We're very lucky to live in Cardiff, and so we've moved out of our sort of attic boxy flat that we were in to something that's got more space for zines, basically. Yeah, whipping out the bookmark.
Here we go. Yes, the bookmark Peter Capaldi.
Oh, that is lush.
Has.
That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, I'm sure Peter Capaldi appreciated one of those bookmarks, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
How can you not?
that was one of the recent times where we'd been at the same event. What was it like seeing Peter Capaldi live?
It was a bit surreal, because he's just there. And I was just like, because you hear about him, like, he doesn't distance himself from Doctor Who necessarily, but he doesn't talk about it a whole ton. And so you go and we were sort of standing there quite close to the stage, actually, because it's a fairly small gig venue. And he just is Doctor Who.
Yeah.
That's Doctor Who, baby. He's on the stage, he's going, time and stars. And I'm just like, no, that's him. I know you've come in disguise, like a Molly, but like you're Doctor Who. And we were all standing there, and I was standing next to Nat and Jack, and just going, oh my god, like sort of siren light. That's you know, and it made me cry, and I did get to hug him after, and it was very, very strange because I never thought I'd get the chance.
It was great. I was so surprised that he leant into the Doctor Who stuff so much, doing his little hand poses and like wearing sunglasses, and I don't know, he felt like he was quite deliberately, playing up that everyone was there knowing he was the Doctor.
I mean, especially being in Cardiff. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to play it up for Cardiff. I mean, I remember like he brought up a few stories of being in Cardiff, and he spoke about being there again after so long. I mean, I personally adored it. I think I think it is the best gig I've ever been to, personally.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get much better than what a 68-year-old man dancing from one bit of the stage to the other, wearing sunglasses and singing punk songs. And I do think it's the closest I ever got to Bowie.
Yeah.
He is very Starman-esque, he's very, there is that sort of Bowie persona locked within Capaldi, which, yeah, no, it was a really magical evening. I absolutely loved it. And I'm glad we all got the chance to meet him as well, because I think, as you just said, didn't think I'd get the chance at all. Honestly, did not think, even though now he's just announced that he's doing a Comic-Con, which I was
Just today.
not expecting at all. But yeah, no, I don't think. I think it was the best way to meet him, definitely. But yeah, no, I mean, going from that to another sort of crossover of when we were both at the same thing, America, Los Angeles. We've got to talk about that. We've got to talk about Gallifrey One. There's no way that we can't talk about Gallifrey One. What was it like going to America, and what was it like for you going to Gallifrey One?
America.
It was so good.
We do talk about missing being in America all the time, and it's not what you think. It's mainly just like, I wish we were at the Cheesecake Factory. I wish we were at the Cheesecake. I wish we were at the Cheesecake every day. Olive Garden, Cheesecake Factory, Olive Garden, just
Olive Garden.
It's straight food. It's just food that we think about. I mean, the weather too is amazing,
and I really want to go back to Barnes and Noble. It's books, food, and like the weather.
Yeah.
I miss Olive Garden so much. That was heaven on a plate, and this is not a sponsored podcast, but genuinely, that was one of the highlights.
I think it was crazy because we'd been on holidays with each other beforehand, but organizing we went for 4 weeks, 3 and a bit weeks, a huge, ginormous trip, sort of without anyone holding your hand, which is, adults do that, but it's such a ginormous trip to take, and to know that you're like using all your savings to go on it, like, this is it, you're gonna go and that's gonna be it. It made it really, really momentous. And like being at Gallifrey One, I remember sitting years previously in 2022, particularly Sacha Dhawan went, I remember sitting at my little desk in my house, just crying my little heart out because the FOMO was awful. I couldn't stand not being there. And then being there, it's like, ooh, everyone's getting FOMO of me right now.
The FOMO's justified, to be honest.
I feel guilty. It's like, it is like no event you will ever go to as a Doctor Who fan, I think.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing I can compare it to. It's vastly, vastly different from UK cons. Like it being based in a hotel with like a pool and like LAX planes flying over and stuff like that.
The fact that you have like cosplay meetups in the outside bit where you're just right next to a pool, you're right next to a bunch of palm trees, and like people projecting Doctor Who episodes out of their hotel room windows 24/7. Yeah, it's such a specific vibe.
It's like everyone got on a plane, died, went to heaven, came back again.
Which is probably the only time America has been described that way.
Yeah, probably.
No, I definitely miss it. It was so much fun.
I do remember the first day we were there, we were out the window and these two guys were on the balcony above us and they said, "Oh, what are you here for?" And we went, "Oh, it's like a convention. It's like Doctor Who." They're like, "Is that a sorority?" And we were like, oh, they don't know. Oh, they really don't know. And they don't know.
It's so, because like in this country, even if you don't watch Doctor Who, if you say the words Doctor Who, everyone will know it's a TV show at least. Like, it was mad for someone to not even know it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I went into like a few bookstores over there, and you kind of expect to see something in the sci-fi section or something Doctor Who related, but no. With the shops that I went into around LA, nothing. Which, it was quite, I mean, there were a lot of culture shocks about LA. A lot of culture shocks, especially seeing the Cybertrucks just actively out there.
Yeah, the little robots as well.
The little robot.
You swore at one that just went.
That was surreal. I remember that was our last night where we were all, going out, and the little robot just appeared, and I was like, "Hello." You would never see anything like that over here.
No.
Not even remotely, purely because we have more health and safety, especially when it comes to Cybertrucks. What would you say were some of the biggest culture shocks for the both of you?
Car Park City. It was like it's like the thing of everyone saying you can't walk it. You really can't walk it. And the reason why is because it's like, so, if you have a car, if you don't have a car, you're dead. Because where do you go? Everything is roads, car parks, and shops. That is the whole of LA. There is nothing but roads, car parks, and shops. There's nothing else. And it was very strange adjusting to that because there wasn't something, you weren't going to take a trip down the road to Target and there'd be something on the way to Target. No, it was like 100 shops and car parks and shops and car parks. And that was it until you got to Target, which was more shops and car parks.
It made me understand why jaywalking is a crime, because I always thought that was really dramatic, but like genuinely every road is at least like 5 lanes. Like if you tried to jaywalk, you would get hit by a car. Like
I never thought about that until now.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me when I was there, but it makes sense why they're so dramatic like that. I think I got into an Uber at one point, and I think I went down a road that was lovely named Death Valley. And this Uber driver was talking about taking me down all these different shortcuts. And he was just like really optimistic to be on a road called Death Valley. I thought I was going to die. I thought this is it. He's like going a bit beyond, well, I say a bit, but he was veering over the speed limit, and everyone is angry. I thought that was it for me. But I understand now. Yeah, jaywalking. That makes sense.
Yeah. You know what was a culture shock though? Was that people were so happy. Like people, it was really weird. At first, we thought people were being homophobic to us, and they weren't. They were just really happy. Like,
clip that.
It was because genuinely, in the 3.5 weeks we were there, like more than 5 separate occasions, an absolute stranger would walk past us on the street and just go stop us and go like, "Oh my god, you guys make such a cute couple," and
it's so shocking.
It was
for
so
not
weird
to be sarcastic.
Yeah, we were expecting it to be sarcastic, and that therefore they were being
totally
homophobic.
Genuine.
Yeah,
and it's really, it takes you aback. You're like, A, what do you mean you're not being sarcastic? And B, huh? Sure.
Honestly, you kind of just don't expect that in Trump's America.
Yeah,
that's something like no wonder you jumped to that conclusion
yeah.
in America in its current state. I mean,
It's really odd.
I know. There were a lot of highlights from the trip to America. I mean, from Gallifrey One's the Griffith Observatory. You then proceeded to go on to San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which from how we've spoken, there was quite a bit of travel sickness.
Oh yeah, that
wasn't
sucks.
as fun as Los Angeles, would you say? No.
Yeah.
We just wanted to go where the silly TV movie was filmed. We didn't want to lay in bed for days. It was
Yeah, I got ill the night we were going to Disney, and then we were flying the next day. I got ill as we were leaving Disney, and then I was so completely like out of it. I got hit so hard.
For a day, basically.
Yeah, I basically passed out for the entire day. Broken up with every time I had to walk because we had to get a flight, and so Kat would have to like kind of wake me up every time I had to walk. I would just blindly follow behind her. Managed to get on the plane. Passed out again the second I got on the plane. Like, it's really funny when you look back at my camera roll from America because there's like hundreds of photos every single day, and then a very noticeable like 3-day gap of 0 photos.
I remember it was awful and extremely unfortunate for you, and at the same time we both had 2 suitcases and you were just completely out of it. So at one point there was sort of this image of me in the lobby just like muscle mommying these 4 suitcases of like 30 kilograms each, just towards the plane all the way to San Francisco. I got muscles, like that worked me out for sure.
Yeah. Weirdly, the only thing I remember from that day is like slightly waking up in the middle of the flight to San Francisco and seeing that they were handing out drinks on the plane, and someone had asked for a Diet Coke, and they had like 500 milliliter cans of Diet Cokes, and I just remember opening my eyes being like, oh my god, a Monster Coke, and then just falling asleep again, just passing right back out.
It was so shocking. It snapped you out of your just delusion.
Yeah.
You talk about it as well.
Because I'm so sad I only saw it for like 2 seconds and then I was out.
I mean, to be fair though, the American snacks and like drinks and everything, the sizes of them all is actually kind of insane. I will say, like, one thing I was kind of shocked by was lemonade.
Oh,
take me back.
We missed the lemonade.
Because like it's not like the UK lemonade, which is always fizzy all the time. It was quite flat, you know, it's just a drink, it's a lemon drink. I mean, what were some of your favorite food places to go over there?
Cheesecake Factory.
Olive Garden.
Aside from Cheesecake Factory and Olive Garden, let's take those 2 main ones, put them to the side for a bit.
We went to
I saw your list. You went to tons of places.
Yeah,
I had a list as well.
Yeah, I can't remember. The thing is, we went to so many that I've forgotten what my favorites were, but there were definitely favorites. We did. God, I've forgotten what we even did now.
I'm looking at it.
Well, look, it's very serious.
I remember the Gallifrey One in and out trip. I remember Denny's.
Oh yeah, that was good. We got bundled into the back of a van for that one.
Strangest van. It was
yeah. We're like, oh, it's raining. Here, get in.
Where's the...
Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, we did do Wendy's. That was really good. That was really good. Shamrock shake at McDonald's.
Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't have Wendy's when I was over there. I didn't have American
Well,
Wendy's.
you're in luck because they're over here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
was
know that.
better in America.
I've been to. Huh?
Maybe Swansea.
I've been to Wendy's over here. I just
Mm.
haven't had the American version, which I imagine is somewhat different.
That's what we found as well. Like what I was saying, I think you didn't think their food was better. But what I thought was their food seemed better. Like everywhere you went, it was a touch better. But long term, it made you like kind of ill in yourself. And that sounds pretentious, but like, you know, the first 2 weeks I was living at large. I was really happy, just eating anything and everything. After a while, I got this sort of like slightly sickly sensational of my all over my body, and I was like, I kind of don't want to. Something's happening here, and like, you know, Cheesecake Factory is good because it's all homemade stuff, that stuff, and like
I need to try it.
do
One
it.
thing I didn't have.
Shut up.
It's so
But yeah, and then you get slightly ill and sick, and you're like, oh, cup of tea. Oh, cup of tea. Yeah, I had a cup of tea when it was lovely.
I mean,
Yeah.
I got that sickly feeling right at the end, which I had Raising Cane's right at the end. That was the last thing I had, which was really nice. The sauce in there was incredible. My favorite's probably Olive Garden. Obviously, it's Olive Garden. Who doesn't love Olive Garden? I went to an American diner towards the end. That was great for the novelty of going to an American diner and getting endless black coffee. Denny's was pretty fun. I like Denny's.
Oh, that was good.
That's pretty good.
I didn't have the breakfast food though. I should probably. No, wait, I did. Did I? I had breakfast food from somewhere because Americans love breakfast food. And I see why. It's nice over there.
They're brilliant at it, yeah.
But yeah, no, Olive Garden's probably my favorite. Oh,
Yeah.
hang on. There was one. Oh, what was it? What was it?
This podcast.
I'll remember it later on. Anyways, back to Doctor Who and stuff.
Wait. I do have to clear up though. Hang on, I have to say on food, because we started to mention it and then we forgot. McDonald's Shamrock Shake, American ones, incredible. They tried bringing it to the UK last year, and it was like toothpaste. And I feel like the people need to know that everyone called that disgusting because it is disgusting, but the actual American one is miles better. And the people needed to know that. Sorry, carry on.
Anyway, yeah. About like Doctor Who and
stuff. So, Doctor Who and stuff, you know, Doctor Who and stuff. No. Going back to sort of Gallifrey One to begin with that. What was your kind of favorite panel to go there, and sort of what were your favorite Doctor Who conventions over in the UK, or like conventions in general?
God, so I'm trying to remember what stuff we did at Galley One.
Hang on, if I remember right, you were on a panel.
I was on two.
Oh yeah, you were on two
panels. That's it.
Yeah, my favorite panel was the ones Kat was in.
Thank you. I was on two. I really enjoyed the experience of being on a panel because when you put me in front of like a mic or an audience, I'm a talker, and I just enjoy talking on panels for some reason. And it was really good because I was on a panel about how to make your own cosplays. I'm not a sewer or a seamstress or anything like that, but like it was a room full of people like sharing their fanish knowledge. I felt really cool, and you know, talking about I made my own Crispy Master costume out of like what did I use for it? I covered my face with like cling film at first, you know. I did paper mache and crisped it up and stuff like that. And then I was on one about the fan community. I always jokingly call it Doctor Who community show because there's one of those in the UK and I've been on it, but the American Doctor Who community show. We went to a fair few panels. I'm not sure if the panels were our favorite thing about it, but we did really enjoy the variety, just the sheer variety, because there's about 5 things happening at once at Galley, more than.
Yes,
In
absolutely.
1 hour slot, there are 10 things you could be doing all over this hotel. And so at times that was a bit overwhelming. It was really cool though. But yeah, I wish UK cons would take the same sort of community approach.
Yeah,
Putting
because
panels.
they're all very kind of corporate UK cons to a degree, and even how it's all sort of laid out, you know, with sort of split up throughout the convention. There's not many different things. I mean, and that's not me talking about Doctor Who conventions like that. It's more the big ones, the Showmasters, the MCMs. They're all quite corporate in how they're presented and how they do what they do. But what I have to say is that the perfect segue is talking of Doctor Who conventions and being on Doctor Who panels. Doctor Who, the community show.
What's that? Who's that?
Huh? What's Doctor Who, the community show?
Jack Alexander, who's he?
I know.
The name tag. Don't look at the name tag.
I don't even think those appear on the videos, but there is a name tag there that says Jack Alexander because we're totally not using his Zoom account right now.
No.
But yes, Doctor Who, the community show panels. What was it like being on the community show panels? And of course, there was there were 2 trailers on some of those panels. No idea what for. God knows.
Oh yeah.
Some sort of Doctor Who community show.
I guess, yeah.
What was it like being on those panels?
Really good. It was a really great time. I was on the most recent one, and I was unnecessarily nervous going up to it because I was like, oh god, in front of a crowd of people. But then I got up there and I was totally fine. It was really good. It was great fun. We did instead of the debate section, the battles and fandom that Jack normally does, when I was on there, we had a guess the episode from the bad review section, which I thought was really, really fun. I loved doing that.
I hope he keeps that one. That one does sound like fun.
It was so good. I loved it. So yeah, I had a good time. And then the trailer showed ahead of the thing, which was really, really good. It was so fun because there were so many people in the audience who were in the trailer. There was George Sherd, who was on the panel with me. He'd written one of the episodes. So before we were going on, I was standing with him watching the trailer, and he was just like, oh my god.
Yeah. I suppose I can talk more to the trailer side of things now, because I was on the panel 2 years ago. It's come far since then. Yeah, it was shit. I'm joking. When Jack took it over, not of the Reeves variety. I was invited to be on that first panel, and it was really cool. I showed up in my kind of crappily put together Rasputin outfit, Rasputin Master. I do better now. I bought the actual garb. And just had a great time of it. And it was really good. I met my friend Law there for the first time. He does, or the first or second.
Just check out the last episode.
He does. Link in the description below. And since then, everyone who was at that panel, I was friends with then, I'm just such good friends with now, and it's so nice. It's so nice now watching the panels with people I'm my best friends are here.
What is this? Some sort of community show?
Wow, credits. But yeah, now I'm the woman, one of the women behind the trailers. The 2 trailers that have shown at the Doctor Who community show for Doctor Who Red Twilight. And it's it's such an honor to screen a trailer at a convention. And some people might look at that and think, oh, it's just playing on a screen in the middle of a noisy room. But it just kind of means that little bit more, especially it's being aired at a panel where everyone's there for a little bit of show. Everyone's sitting and watching and celebrating things. And me, Law, and Nat work very hard on the trailers. It's my job to to do the audio, and with the last trailer, I put that one together. I did the music for that trailer. That was really exciting. Law and I and Nat spent ages sort of coming up with what we could do with the visuals. Like Nat does the capture, everything comes together. We work on it, we build it up, for weeks beforehand, into something that's just meant to be as exciting as physically possible. And we knew, like, our first trailer aired when no one had seen what we could do.
Yeah.
And when we'd sort of proved that, we're serious, we're going to do this thing, we really care about it, here's what we're doing, I think we wanted to follow that up with like this is going to get better. The episodes of Red Twilight that have already aired, episodes 1 to 4, which you can check out on the 77 Years YouTube Productions channel, they're what we could do, say, a year ago. Since then, like, the stories we're telling, the stuff we're doing, we're trying to make it better and better all the time. And the trailer at the last panel is for a bunch of episodes that I'm very, very excited about. And like Nat was saying, people in the audience had contributed to it, and there's a bit where all the names flash up on the screen and everyone in the audience is like, you can see their name on there, and it's the same ethos as the zines, bringing people to something, making something that people can be proud of, putting something out there that people have their name in, and that's just like so important to us to do that.
Which I was going to go more into cosplays, which we can and will, but first I do want to talk about Red Twilight. I absolutely want to talk about Red Twilight because it's such a monumental project, and it's garnered rightfully quite a lot of attention, and I hope that begins to build up more and more and more because it genuinely deserves it. Red Twilight is such a phenomenal production, and you've done a brilliant job so far, and I can't wait to see more. But my first question being, how would you introduce Red Twilight to someone who hasn't listened to it yet?
I would say that we've tried to go for a series that has no limits to it, that still feels like at its core pure Doctor Who, the pure sense of excitement of what Doctor Who is. And we've tried to make it, what we're doing is we've released 4 episodes, 12 episodes in a series. What you're going to see is the journey of this Doctor and this story build and grow and link, and it's here to give you like a juicy steak dinner of stuff you can dig your teeth into and enjoy and feel like Doctor Who is on. Doctor Who's on your telly, Doctor Who's in your ears, Doctor Who's in your eyes. It's telling a story. It's standing by itself. It's making you feel something again. And I think one of the things we've tried to do is in the vein of making it feel like that full, complete, really rewarding series, is say, okay, what's working? How, when you strip it back, what are the components of Doctor Who without, the Daleks are back. Oh, and it's the Cybermen doing this and this and this again. Or it's Slorpo Bongo from 1967 is back. And it's just pure adventure, and like we try to flesh out every bit of it. And yeah, that's part of my pitch. I could go on and on about it.
Yeah. Also, the Master's there. That's just what I say to people. I say, do you like the Master? Listen to Red Twilight. She's there.
Yeah.
Yippee.
But her answer's better.
No, Red Twilight is definitely worth watching for anyone watching this who hasn't seen it yet, and absolutely check it out. Naturally, Jack Alexander is playing the Doctor, not the Red Twilight Doctor, the Doctor. So, he's the Doctor, how would you sort of describe his incarnation and what Jack brings to the table?
He's been compared to every single incarnation of the Doctor, which
And
he loves.
he loves, and I love as someone who pulls all the strings, because it means that conceptualizing him, we got it totally right. Because he's so original. You can't say that's the 6th Doctor, that's the 12th Doctor. I've not had one Doctor twice, no two people have said to me he's the same Doctor. And what that says to me is like, yes, okay, we've got something.
He's even got the Shouker Doctor at one point.
That one's a really flattering one, actually. I think this Doctor, like, going into it, we had this sort of vague, blurry notion of what he'd be, and over time we refined it, and it's a Doctor that I think there's 2 archetypes to, if you're thinking of a Doctor, there's young and quirky and zany and full of energy, and there's sort of the older, wiser, more serious or cranky. And people tend to think of it as these 2 points, but it's not a strict progression, of course, to a plane. It's a big ball of whatever. But Jack really brings to it, like, genuinely, that man is Doctor Who. He knows he's Doctor Who as well. It's like he genuinely treats it like, when someone gets the part of the Doctor on a TV show, they have a responsibility. You're told not to swear, you're told to, like, bring joy to the lives of children. Jack, like, takes it with so much, like, sincerity, and comes to it putting his whole ass into everything. And, like, the man's an actor. He's really good. Like, he can portray all these little tiny edges of what we're trying to do with a scene, and we'll tell him, like, oh, could you do this with this sort of feel to it, and it'll be a line that's emotion we want to relate to an episode, in 8 episodes time, and he'll understand it. And I think about his character, he's like, you struggle to describe him. It's just, he's a Doctor that has learned to live on his own, but has been almost forced to adopt a companion, basically. He's a pragmatist in the extreme sense, but he's not detached. He's this almost sort of father figure without being that at all. And, like, he's got a lot going on inside his head that you barely scratch the surface of, but what you do see is so interesting. And yeah, his character is going to develop as we release more episodes. I just think he's so interesting as an incarnation, and what Jack brings to it is phenomenal.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, no, I think it's hard to describe him, because it's like you said, he's so many things without being that thing too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I had to describe him in one word, the word that comes to mind, like, wrongly, the word that comes to mind most is grumpy, but he's not grumpy enough to be described as grumpy.
No.
It's just, the only reason I think of him as grumpy, really, is because every time we have to script edit something, we're always like, oh, that line makes him sound too happy, turn it down. But even then, you wouldn't call him, like, an especially grumpy Doctor.
He's a bitch.
No, I wouldn't say so.
He's a mother.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. A little bit of everything rolled into one.
Yeah, exactly.
From conversations with you both in the past and from conversations with Jack, I think it also is excellent casting that he's a dad himself. And I think that reflects perfectly in the role of the Doctor. And as you've just said, and how responsible he is with the role and how he views it, I think definitely knowing Jack and knowing Jack's life and knowing the fact that he's a dad, I can see how he brings that to the role. And it really made me reflect upon my sort of view of the Doctor in terms like the perfect act of the cast is a parent or a teacher.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense. It's really it creates this sort of nuanced character that is captured perfectly so far in Red Twilight, and I'm sure will be continuing to expand upon and evolve as it goes along. But of course, the Doctor wouldn't be the Doctor without their master.
Aww.
And
In the
the
figurative and
master.
literal sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's okay.
How would you kind of go into your incarnation of the master
Ooh.
and their dynamic without spoiling future episodes or the episodes that are currently out?
Okay. Ooh, okay. There would be two answers depending on which one of those you would have said. This master, we said from the beginning, it's not going to be a spoiler that the master is in the series. The master's quite integral to the story and what we're trying to set up. Well, I think we found it quite interesting. The master is, revealed eventually, and it's a shock how she's revealed. It's not necessarily the shock that she's there, it's a shock how she's there. And I think the master that I wanted to play was, I think I was wary of not parodying a sort of master archetype. And I wanted to do something special with her relationship to the Doctor, do something quite new and strange and novel. I'm trying to describe it without...
That's her. New, strange and novel.
Strange and novel.
New, strange and novel.
And there's a different relationship between this Doctor and this master that I can't really compare to any of the incarnations that we've seen before. And that's not just me going, she's so new. She's so horrible. There's a very different relationship, just in the very literal sense, of what they are to each other. That's not even from me as a Dr. Mastershipper. In the very literal sense, they are something different to each other in this story. And I've tried to make this master a real threat, because that's the other thing I didn't want to do. I didn't want to make the master, the Doctor's old pal who, they go on funny adventures around the universe with. They're dangerous. They are a danger, and I wanted to make them a visceral danger in this universe. And that comes out in in some of the episodes.
Which makes me look even more forward to Batch 2. Because I'm really, really looking forward to Batch 2. It's going to be amazing. Beyond that, beyond looking into the future, what is the future of Red Twilight looking like? As much as you want to share. Spoiler free, of course.
Spoiler free. I would say that the one thing we sort of agreed to say before is that we have a plan.
Yeah.
2 series was always the plan. No. We have we know where this is going. We know exactly where this is going.
Yeah. We have a beginning, we have an end. We know how many episodes it will take to get there.
Yeah.
And you'll find out how many episodes that is when we reach the end.
We tell you.
I can't wait. It's going to be brilliant. And I highly recommend anyone watching this checks out Red Twilight. Absolutely. There's so much to explore, and I don't know how many questions I want to ask about it, purely because I think the best thing to do is watch it. And of course, there was a recent sort of behind the scenes sort of podcasty type episode that you put out on your channel recently, which was was it looking at Block 1?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make something that you weren't compelled to listen to, but they explained, that delved into every single aspect of what we were doing in a very creative way. Why we did this, what we did with this, how we did this. And everyone on the team, joined in. And, Laura talked about her VFX, George talked about his music, Jake talked about their covers. It was brilliant. But yeah,
I mean, all brilliant, brilliant people and talents within the fandom, genuinely. All of them amazing. Having just spoken to Law, having worked with a lot of them, they are wonderful, all wonderful human beings, and definitely um, worth, just looking at their work. They are brilliant. But sort of going back to the beginning, the very beginning of Red Twilight, how did the project sort of start and what sort of drew you to? Because, of course, a lot of the early stuff that we've been talking about, the zines, it's sort of all based on official masters and official doctors. What sort of drew you more towards sort of fan doctors, fan sort of space?
I'd never weirdly, before I did Red Twilight, I was aware of, people making their own fan doctors, and I was friends with people in that sort of sphere, but it had never quite hooked me, through no fault of its own. I just, I love writing prose, I love writing fan fiction, I love publishing it. And initially there was sort of just this loose concept of Jack being a doctor and me, being the master. And
Sorry, I'm gonna make water while this is happening. It is a very hot day. Continue.
And so, I sort of flew into its orbit a bit, and eventually dragged Nat with me. And sort of thought, well, yeah, if I were to play the master, what would I do with it? It's a funny hypothetical. What would I do with it? And I started thinking deeper about it, and deeper about, what you could actually do with a series. And I had Jack there, who he's played the Doctor before in some audios, and we sort of took the basic idea of that and thought, let's do this, full throttle, let's do this. And so I came up with sort of one day in August about 2 years ago, I came up with this just mental starting idea for a series. And I was talking a million miles per hour. I got everyone on a call. I was like, what if we did this? And everyone was like, ooh, okay, what if we did this? And I typed it all up on this series Bible, and I said, okay, here's the idea. I want to do this. I have these ideas for these episodes, and I'm going to start doing it. And it sort of snowballed. It came from a very small idea of, just people playing different parts, and snowballed into schemes and art and plot and story and script. And there's like a whole little universe circling around it now, and it delights me.
Quite right too. Absolutely. How would you kind of go into because obviously when it came into production and when it all started, I know you have two ways of doing this. I know there are generally two ways of doing this from the fan, but the voice acting side of things and the directing side of things, obviously, there's two sides to the fandom that I tend to see. One is all in the same call, recording together, and the other is sending in audio. How does Red Twilight sort of do things, and how's that process?
Neither of those options sometimes.
Yeah. The Red Twilight process is basically, I think from the start, Jack wanted, there was a feeling that we did this all together and we were all there, and it was we were recording something in real time. And so what we will do for each episode is it'll go through its draft, it'll get to a read through draft, and that's the script that Nat and I will say, okay, we think this script is ready. We would like to sit everyone down who's in this episode on a call, get you guys to read it through, so you can figure out what your character is doing, what your character's feeling. We can work out what works and what doesn't. we'll go away, edit that script, and we'll come back and we'll sit down, and everyone will know exactly who their character is, where they're going, what they're feeling, and we'll record it in a night, basically an episode in a night. Obviously, like in a perfect world, everyone would be there in a read through, everyone would be there in a recording, and we get every line every single time. Realistically, what happens is that we get as many people as we can on a read through, as many people as we can in a recording. Sometimes that recording is in person at a studio that my lovely friend Giles, who belongs to the Cardiff University Radio Society Express, lets us use. And we will record in that room, and any lines that we don't get will be, someone will either send it in, or what I've offered to do is just sit on a call with someone and we will read lines against them, because we want everything to feel live. And so I think in some people, I've encountered many different ways of doing it. Most people really love it when there's someone there just they can bounce off of. It makes the energy higher, and the scenes actually feel like they're thrumming with something. And other people, like rare occasion, people will just feel like, okay, I want to do this. This is, my first time. I want to do this, get this right on my own. Maybe I want some guidance. And both ways are completely fine. But we always wanted to get that sense of energy in every recording.
Yeah, when we started doing the first episode we recorded was episode 4, which we recorded in studio. So it was very cool to be able to say to people, like, when we'd done was the first episode, like, wow, this episode was done in studio. And but then, the rest of them were recorded on Zoom. But it was really cool during like the month when that was all we'd recorded, to be like, oh yeah, all of our Red Twilight stuff was done in studio.
Yeah.
And it's good. We had, for an upcoming episode, we had one where like every person was in the studio except for Ollie, who we had on a Zoom call, like on the desk.
Based on the phone. It was quite sweet.
Yeah. And he was reading along with us. And it was good. And it's very fun when we're in the studio. It's great. I get to have the headphones and do sound teching, and I do the majority of the directing for the series, which is a lot of fun. It's good.
We sort of dabble in our areas. You're mostly the director, I'm mostly the producer, but the streams will cross.
What's it like directing voice actors in your eyes? What's your kind of what's your sort of journey been like there?
Oh, it's good. It's fun. It's interesting, because I used to be more hesitant to give the direction, because I had to kind of get used to it quite quickly, because I just felt cruel at first. And then I got used to it with Jack, because I'd be like, oh god, I can't ask him to retake that a different way, he'll hate me. But then
now you're just like,
yeah. After I'd done a couple of like, Jack, I'm so sorry, can you say that again slightly differently? And he'd be like, it's fine, just tell me what to do. And now I'm very streamlined with it.
And he loves it. He's
and
just
he
like,
loves
tell
it
to me straight, and that's like, I will tell it to you straight.
Yeah. It's we always have a joke that I say to, this is terrible directing. I only say it to Jack because he knows what I mean. But I say, do it again, but better.
I was just about to make that joke.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, do it better.
Which is usually either because he's like stumbled on a word, or because I'm like, I've not quite figured out how I want him to do it differently. So I'm like, do it again, and then I'll listen to it and I'll figure out how to properly direct you. But yeah, it's good. When there's an episode coming up, when that comes out, you will see why it was absolutely hellish to direct. And and it was a real challenge from a directorial standpoint. But I'm extremely proud of that episode. I was debating saying the number there, but you'll know what it is when it comes up.
You will know.
You'll know immediately.
And I'm sure there'll be a podcast by the end of it talking about Batch 2.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. What episode out of Batch 1 thus far, from a production standpoint, would you say is the most ambitious?
Batch 1.
Margin of error.
Hmm.
And I would say that because, like, I remember every single stage of every single episode, because I used to. Nat does a bit more of the production side of it now, but there are layers to each one, and it builds up from the bottom. Initial cut, final cut, SFX draft, second SFX draft, soundtracking, final version. And it's almost like the TV Doctor Who problem of you've got 12 episodes to fill, a certain budget to do it in, and 70 alien planets to go to. Margin of Error is the episode that takes you on the biggest journey from start to finish. With episodes like you've got episode 2, The Frost Guard, which is, set on a frozen planet. Episode 3 is more of a horror one, which is very impressive in its own right. It sounds like I'm tooting my own horn there, tooting the horn of the team. 4, All Hail, which is a personal favorite of mine, but it's a different environment again. They're each a distinct environment, but 1 has this journey. We were introduced to our companion Oscar at the start in a very different environment to where we leave him, and as it goes through every scene, it's constantly changing, it's constantly moving, it's constantly dropping up and down and up and down. What's happening and who's speaking and how loud is it and what's the energy of this scene. And it's not the first one that got finished. That was 4. It's like the 3rd or 4th, and we've, as people have worked on it, as I've worked on it as a producer, my skills, I fine-tune them even more. And so I would be able to, there's episodes in this next block that take you on a very varied journey. And like, just to say that I did that as a slightly less experienced producer from the start, it's really ambitious. And the SFX work done by Ross in particular blows me away every time, because Ross makes everything sound real, and that's the key to every audio drama. It has to sound real. It has to sound like you're in the room.
No, absolutely. No,
I was going to say, on the opposite side of the coin, the easiest to produce was Ep 3. And it was entirely because the actor for The Revenant made all of the like sounds, made all of the sounds of the child crying, and made all of the sounds of the alien like roaring and everything.
Scandalous.
And
there's an alien now.
There's an alien in Doctor Who. But they made all the sounds, so that was like the easiest to produce, because without the SFX even on there, like listening to it, you were like, oh my god, that's a full scene.
Big shout out to Jackie Smith.
Yeah.
Who just is a phenomenal VA. And
absolutely. Brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. So, there's a few more topics I want to move on to. One of which is, if anyone's been reading Doctor Who magazine as of late, you'll notice a certain name appearing throughout in certain review sections. Can't think of it. It's on
David Richardson.
No, but recently you've been reviewing for Doctor Who magazine, Kat.
I have.
How has that been?
Mind-blowing for one. How'd I get here? Who knows? I'm just a guy. I started reviewing things for Doctor Who magazine more than a year ago. So when we got back from America, that I was sending these initial emails and sort of they were saying, well, do you want to review what we've got and these books and these audios? And I was just so surprised and like honored that they were saying, go on, give it a go. And I did. And the next month they'd say, do you want to have a go at this? Yeah, sure. And I'm really proud of the reviews I do for it, because it's like a child's dream come true, writing in the magazine. I remember racing back from, I was like 14 at the time, and they had this special edition of DWM with like Peter Davison on the cover. people will know I'm talking. People out there will know what I'm talking about. And I remember being on a campsite with no Wi-Fi for about a week, and my parents picked me up early from this campsite. I was sat in the car like that, going, "There's the Peter Davison magazine at home. I must get back to the Peter Davison magazine." And I got back and read the Peter Davison magazine, and now I write for the Peter Davison magazine. And some of the stuff that I get, I'm working my way through the Dark Gallifrey series at the moment, which has been, like really quite interesting because it goes to a lot of different places. I get to, look at these people's work, and as someone who goes through the blood, sweat, and tears of building an audio from scratch, I know that someone has toiled and toiled away on what I'm reviewing, and it's like, it's amazing to be able to hear it and give it, do it that justice by writing about it. And yeah, I'll be in upcoming issues. If you flick to the review section, you can spot my name, unless they axe me.
It's interesting hearing about like both your journeys and how it's kind of given you that perspective creatively that allows you to review these sort of episodes and books and audios and whatever throughout, in future issues as well. It's interesting that you kind of got that perspective with the zines, you've got that perspective with the audios and so on and so forth. And from working with other people as well in the community, you kind of get perspectives from the soundtrack perspective, the SFX perspective. And yeah, no, it's always great reading your reviews, and you're always brilliant at reviewing Doctor Who content, and I can't wait to read more. And as Kat just said, pick up a Doctor Who magazine issue, and yeah, I'm sure there'll be a review in there. Now, another topic I want to talk about is one that we've brought up many times during this, but we haven't quite directly talked about the Master in I've got a random question to begin with in regards to the Master. What, in both your opinions, is the best Master theme, music-wise? Character theme?
Purely removed from any sort of plot standpoint or opinions, Missy's theme is really good.
I was thinking that,
just musically, like there's her theme is a poem, and the way Maury Gold uses it, like it plays backwards at one point. I think that's when she's dying. It's the subtleties and the layers behind the Master they really show in Missy's theme, and I love all the themes. Like Sim's music, Master Vainglorious, has been it's quite funny to me now, just because it's in weird places in the war games.
We'll get to that.
We'd better not, Mr. Rory Guest. You'll meet the end of my fist. But yeah, no, Missy's theme shows like really like the sly interior. It's almost quiet when Missy isn't, but it sometimes in scenes it'll give away that sort of newness, that new vulnerability that this Master has, and I really like that.
Yeah, I love Missy's theme. I think it's like when you play it backwards, there are lyrics to it, and they're about like her
softly lay me down.
Yeah,
these are the days of love. You know, yeah.
And it's so her, like, trying to reconnect with the Doctor. I love that one.
It's at this point where I'd ask you if you had to write a poem for each Master, what poems would you write for each incarnation? But we don't have the time.
Oh no!
But that's quite an interesting idea, writing poems for each incarnation and how they would differ depending on their vulnerabilities and character arcs. I feel like that would be interesting. But speaking of character arcs and sort of journeys, obviously been sort of reviewing quite a lot of Big Finish lately, and Big Finish has a habit of expanding upon certain masters and sort of their arcs. What incarnation of the master still has the most room when it comes to expanding upon them and their incarnation and their arc?
I think they've done a lot of good things with Crispy, and I think there's always wiggle room with Crispy, but I think they've used very little of what they have with Dewan Master, and obviously because he's the most recent master, there's going to be less. You
You're
will have done
forgetting the
less
tooth.
wiggling,
You're
you know.
forgetting the tooth.
Yeah, Adventures of the Tooth, but I think what they've that he's so multifaceted, and the audios currently, the Call Me Master box sets, are good. Like, I did enjoy them, but in their scope, they don't take into account really this whole breadth of he's the oldest master that we have, and he's every single one of these previous incarnations. He's got the qualities of every single one, and like, I think Spyfall Part 2, whatever you may think of it, is the perfect example of this master's depth. He is everything in that episode, from, you know, the theatrical to the quiet and the reflective, and he's very mournful. And what Big Finish, you know, tended to explore in what they've done of him so far is the bombastic. And we see that a lot in, you know, he's Rasputin, and he's loud and he's theatrical in different ways, but pare it back and there's a lot underneath there that you could
Even
do stuff
with like the Rasputin, the Power of Doctor, what I find interesting is that when he's stranded on that asteroid, he just sits there.
Yeah.
He just sits there. He just starts playing the recorder. And I think you're completely right in that, even in that episode, the bombastic with the Rasputin. But I think when he's got those glasses on, and I can't remember, geological professor, I think that's the term.
Yeah.
And you have his more, I feel like that's more Ainley Delgado coming out there in my eyes. And it's quite interesting how he kind of switches it up and how you can see elements and fragments of each master within. But yeah, no, it's yeah, I think that's definitely a master that's worth expanding upon. Um, Nat, do you have an answer to that question? In terms of what would you sort of
Yeah,
explanation wise?
honestly, the same. I do think. See, I don't know if it would actually be worth doing anything with, but I do think there's a world in which something could be done with. In Power of the Doctor, when he is the Master Doctor and Yaz leaves him on that asteroid and returns later, like, any amount of time could have passed during that. And I
Yeah,
do think,
that's
like,
perfect.
yeah, I don't know, he could have happily gone away for like 200 years and been messing up the universe dressed as the
hmm
Doctor and then returned to the asteroid. I don't know what actually interesting you could do in that gap, but like, there's a gap there that could be done something with.
I think it'd be interesting, and I think it is something that they've done with, like body swap stories or stories where the Master's disguised himself as the Doctor. But it'd be interesting to have a series where the Master's actually kind of won, which I know they kind of did with Masterful, but I suppose this is winning in a different way. This time,
Yeah,
the Master is sort of inhabiting that role of the Doctor there, but trying to corrupt it. But then there's that sort of internal conflict and it would be interesting. I'm sure there are many layers to explore there. And I'm sure one day, I mean, it's a time gap in Doctor Who. There's gonna be something.
yeah.
There's gonna be hundreds of things, no doubt about it. But another question I have is sort of, and this is a big one, and it kind of delves into everything that we've discussed so far about the Master. How would you, from your perspectives, describe the Doctor and the Master's relationship?
You don't want to ask us that.
I mean, it's called a talk with for a reason. I mean, if there's one
Yeah.
thing I'm here for, it's
This is where it's just a row of like bleeps. Yeah, no.
Redacted.
Yeah, I don't know, divorced. If I had to sum up Master Doctor just as a whole, just every incarnation of the Master Doctor, I would sum them up in the word divorced.
Divorced, and they should be.
Yeah,
divorced,
and they're better off that way.
Yeah.
Divorced, beheaded, and died.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Tagline, actually. Didn't a Missy say
Yeah, there's a Missy episode called that, I think.
I would describe, I don't know, say something deep and profound, can I? They're each other's equal and opposite. They balance an equation. They're the yin to each other's yang.
Hey, you started off just sort of quoting Red Twilight there.
No, I haven't. Don't. They're the dark to each other's light, but it's not as black and white as that. It's the, you know, the constant. What's your constant when you're immortal? It's this other person whose line runs parallel to yours and intersects with yours, and you know them so intimately that they could be another part of yourself, but you could never quite reach them when you reach out for them. And yeah, and every other thing that I think about.
I think being each other's constants is such a beautiful thing, and it's so true. Like, you can just see it. Like, even though they fight and they hate each other and they try to kill each other, like, you know, they try to kill each other. Like, Missy even says, I think it's in one of the audios, Missy even says that, like, she was never actually trying to kill him, you know? Like, they were never really trying to. They were doing it all, knowing full well the Doctor would stop them.
I think,
most of the time. Sometimes there was some real death.
I think that is masterful, and I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why I know that specifically. And I think she's talking to Joe, and she makes a joke about the Doctor looking at a doomsday rocket. Which, yeah, no, that entire interaction does sum up the Doctor and the Master for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ever since the War Games, some might say.
Some
no,
may not say that, actually.
Depends on your point of view.
It's only one of those.
Moving on from that quickly creates tension there. Sort of going back to cosplay as well, because obviously, you know, there's been a lot of Master cosplaying. What's your favorite Master to cosplay?
It was always, I mean, I like all of them. That's boring to say. I can tell you my least favorite Master to cosplay. That's Hobbit's Master. I hate that cosplay from the depths of my soul.
It looks so good, though.
It's taken me the longest to make. Every time I wear it out, it completely disintegrates. Some part of it goes. I love being crispy for the day. If it's more outlandish and it's more bold, then no one's done it. So
that is very true.
You know, going to Keeper of Traken screening, dressed as Crispy Master, and sitting next to Jeffrey Beavers in the cinema was interesting. The one that I always felt most at home with, like when you get that cosplay on feeling and you feel really powerful immediately, you feel like a different person, different character, is Dewan Master's purple outfit that he wears in, you know, the Timeless Children and the end of Spyfall.
I could pretend to be shocked right now, but I'm not gonna.
What? Yeah. It's the first cosplay that really gave me the feeling of like being someone else, and I got the first version of that cosplay when I was in my uni room. I think it was before I even started making zines, and I wore it like I just looked at myself in my bathroom mirror and I immediately felt like so powerful, which was quite a powerful thing in itself, you know, being trapped in a single room with no escape for a year, you know, finding something that you can put on and it makes you feel completely different is amazing. And I don't wear as much anymore, but I still love it.
Yeah. I used to cosplay Dowan Master a lot as well, but I haven't done it in a while because I I always like to match with like the person that I'm going with. And so I used to go to cons with Ori a lot. So she'd be 13, I'd be Dowan Master. It was great. And then obviously now that I go to cons with you, you're the Master. So I match the Doctor, or when you were Sim Master, I was Lucy. It's fun coming up with cosplays that like.
Oh, that was iconic, to be fair. The
I love
Sim
that one.
Lucy one, that is
Yeah.
iconic.
I felt so cool in the red dress with a gun. That was brilliant.
Yeah, you're the one in the red dress. I was the Doctor once.
Were you?
Yeah.
When?
The Doctor.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, when we cosplayed Red Twilight.
That was very cool, actually.
Yeah, I cosplayed her Master and she cosplayed the Doctor. Which was funny, because you'd think it'd be easy for me to cosplay her Master, but like we're different clothing sizes, so I did have to rebuy everything. I couldn't just steal her clothes.
I just thought it'd be funnier.
Yeah. It was great. It was good fun. Halfway through the day, we painted some fake blood on our knuckles and acted like we'd just been on a fight.
Yeah. Watch the series, guys.
That was good fun.
I put the kitten ears on. Or is it the puppy ear?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was it.
With a
It was
little bell.
fake blood. And
Oh, I love Comic-Con. Are there any cosplays, Master or unrelated, that you're looking to do in the future?
No, what's yours?
well, we've got another matching one planned.
We do, yeah. Maybe for a less hot Comic-Con this time.
They're so hot. They're
hot
in general.
We tried to go in full leather and Edwardian layers this time.
Yeah.
Didn't end well.
Yeah, we were.
I mean,
it was like 30 degrees last MCM, and we were gonna Roberts it, and then it was
for
32 degrees.
Safety and sanity, I think we would have incinerated on the spot if we'd actually got it.
It would have been
what I feel was more sort of bold was the BFI. Was absolutely the Roberts fucking like shoulder things, and then was it Jack who was sitting next to you?
Yeah. It's very it was sort of Elton John, the picture of Elton John, his like pink feathers and his boyfriend sitting next to him. It's very much like that. And that was on the other side. And I did there was some bonking at both. Oh, I'm just not going to finish that sentence.
Oh, I'm keeping that in.
Yeah, it was bold, and I loathe that headpiece. I can't stand that headpiece.
Didn't you wear it at one point for Galley One, if I recall?
I did.
Yeah, different headpiece though.
Different version. There will be a third version if I ever wear it again, because that one is gone. It took me days to make, and it's just gone.
I think I remember hearing about that not long after.
Yeah, that one's my most hated as well. My 8th Doctor cosplay, because I like decided to get it like custom tailored to my measurements online, and then for some reason all of the clothing pieces seem to be different sizes, and it's like I literally submitted my measurements. How is half of this too small and half of it too big?
God, I love cosplay. It really is a lottery sometimes.
Really is.
Yeah, no, especially, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, certain websites are great, certain websites aren't great, and, making your own is always great. I mean, wasn't that what one of the panels was about, as we spoke about earlier at Galley One? I mean, what advice and sort of harkening back to that panel, what advice would you give to someone who is starting to make their own cosplays?
Oh, don't look at me. I haven't made my own. The most I've done is alter the ones that were too big.
My advice would be, do not overstress yourself to make it entirely from scratch. If you're dead set on making a cosplay from scratch, it is no shame to go out and buy closely matching screen accurate things, or even stuff that's close to it, because you will not be able to make your own tweed jacket or something like that unless you're very skilled. What I did with a few of my cosplays, my purple Dual Master one particularly, was there was sort of a retail version of it and then I went out in that for a few cons, and I used the pattern from that to upgrade the material and the satin, and elasticated the waist and put buttons on it. And so, like, stuff that I have, the only one where nothing is, well, even on my crispy cosplay, the cloak is shot bought because I had to buy a cloak to build on it to make crust all around the hood. What a nice word, crust. But yeah, my advice would be, do not overstress yourself if one part of your cosplay or a major part, like your jacket, is not completely homemade.
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely the perfect bit of advice to give someone. And I think ultimately this sort of leads me to my last topic of the conversation of a talk with, because I don't want to keep you both too long, especially in this heat, especially since I've had to turn my fan off and I'm boiling alive. I think progressively throughout the video, more people are just going to see just sweat. Like, what I've realized is that the hair gets progressively more flat throughout every single one of these in the summer. So my last sort of topic of conversation is about living in Cardiff, and especially, what is it like living in Cardiff, and what is it like seeing a Doctor Who location every 5 seconds?
It's a heavy burden to bear, but I bear it with pride.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's great. I moved to Cardiff like 2 years ago, specifically. Well, half because Kat was here,
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, yeah, happy coincidence. A lot for Doctor Who. And it was great because just after I moved here, they were filming War Between the Land and the Sea. So I got to see that filming a little bit, which was a lot of fun. But it's great being here. You just meet so many people who are like, oh yeah, I worked on Doctor Who, or I had surgery on my wrist, and my doctor was telling me about how she was like best friends with the producer of the last episode, and I was like, like, never mind my wrist, tell me more.
Yeah. Everyone you meet here is my old boss was an extra, and he signed up to be an extra, and he got used in Torchwood once, but only so they could take photos of him. And he was eventually cut from the episode, but if he was included, he would have been Captain Jack's son. He was like, oh yeah, I was in an episode of Torchwood once, but they cut me. I was Captain Jack's son. I was like, if people on TARDIS Wiki knew that, they'd go crazy. What are you doing in this like press and marketing company? Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that sums up pretty much, the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff. Well, not the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Same with Yanto Shrine now. That's gone as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
What was it like saying goodbye to Yanto Shrine? That's a question about living in Cardiff.
It was so sad.
Yeah. I get why they're getting rid of it. I think every song must have its end, or some wank.
Yeah,
I get
rip Yanto.
rip that guy, I guess. I think it's a shame because people do literally make the pilgrimage to it, and it's been there for so long as a testament of fan love. It wasn't getting in anyone's way, really. I work on the bay, and I'll go out to lunch and used to see the shrine over the railings. No one could see it unless you went to seek it. And it had this lovely picturesque spot by the water, and I think it's sad because it's one of the defining physical places where fan love is. It's got a marker on Google Maps. There is a physical embodiment of like the love of this show, like sitting right there. And it really sucks that something like that has to go and not like be repurposed or something into something similar but different.
Yeah,
it was great as well. The day that we went down to Yanto Shrine like 2 days before it was torn down, and loads of people had like made little Sharpie marks, like written their names on it or whatever. And I wrote like Kat and Nat and a little heart on it. And then we went off home, and like half an hour later, I got a video from Katie Haynes, and it was her being like, "Look what I've just found," and it was a zoom in on our names with a heart, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cute." And then like about 2 weeks later, suddenly everyone in our Discord server was tagging us. It was like, Kat and Nat, look at this. And it was the Big Finish YouTube channel. And they'd done a Goodbye Yanto Shrine video, and they'd zoomed in on Kat and Nat with a heart. So we've been immortalized on Yanto Shrine forever.
Quite right too. Quite right too. I mean, yeah, it was sad to say goodbye to it. I mean, it was the first thing that I came and saw when I moved up to Cardiff. It was naturally, it was just there, it never really came to mind that it could be going anytime soon. And then by the time it was being removed, I couldn't get away from the place. I was pretty much there saying goodbye to it with a different group of people every day. And yeah, no, it just sort of yeah, it became somewhere special. It was somewhere that I would go to every so often, but in the end, it was sad to say goodbye to. It was a monument to fan. It was a monument to fan community, like some sort of community show. Um, but yes, and on that note, I believe we've reached the end of this episode of A Talk With. It's been lovely to talk to you both. If you have anything to promote. If you have anything to promote, this is your time.
Oh boy. So our current what we're doing at the moment, we have a zine releasing called Hear the Music. 12th Doctor and Missy going through the universe, seeing the wonders of the universe through the power of music and hearing the music. Is shipping this summer, and you will be able to get digital copies of that and potentially leftovers when this podcast goes up. We're also this feels like the main event, really, even though we love our beloved zine very much. We have a second block of Red Twilight. Red Twilight episodes 5 to 8 will be coming out probably early this autumn. We've released a trailer for those that you can find on our channel, and God, I'm so proud of it. It bangs, and you should check it out. And the visuals are stunning, and the VAs are stunning, and the captioning is stunning. But yeah, we've got those coming out. We're very, very excited about that. And if you haven't already seen or listened to the first 4.5 episodes of Red Twilight, I think you should go and do so now, because it's quite an adventure. It's essentially 5 hours of just pure full cast soundtrack Doctor Who, all in one story, and that story will continue very soon. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and we have accounts on Twitter, Blue Sky, Tumblr, Instagram. And there will be much more stuff coming out about Red Twilight very soon.
Yeah.
All of which will be in the description. That you can find Red Twilight in the description. I highly recommend it. Genuinely, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you, both of you, for joining me today.
Thank you
very much.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. It's been a blast. It's been an absolute joy. It has been it's been great, and it's always lovely to talk to you both. I mean, you've both been on the channel quite a few times now, I would say.
This is our season 3 appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the podcast special. You've been promoted from vlogs.
Oh yeah. It is also very funny we did this over Zoom, considering we're about 20 minutes away from each other right now.
Yeah. But thank you, both of you, for joining me, and you're welcome anytime. And thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.